Our little test boat, T5 as we're calling it, it's been a huge success, and we've had so much fun sailing it, this summer in the UK. And really when we first saw the design, and I think there was a lot of people kind of scratching their heads about how this was going to work, and the proof of concept with our boat has been absolutely fantastic, and the learning experiences along the way. We've been sailing now for nearly 6 months, and we've just learned so much about the design and its intricacies and how it works out on the water. It's really been a fantastic tool. It's always the same old thing in the America's Cup, often more than not you run out of time before you run out of money, and this is going to be the case in this one as well. It's an incredibly tight timeline. It's a very ambitious design and build schedule that all of the teams are going to go through, but this is the America's Cup, and this is why we do it because it is exciting, because there is time constraints and there are huge challenges to overcome. So it's an incredibly exciting time to be involved in sailing and be involved in the America's Cup, and I'm certainly looking forward to the next 2 years. I think the first World Series is going to be huge. It will be the first time that we're going to get 4 or 5 of these boats all on the same piece of water at the same time. No one's going to have had a huge amount of time to sail them, and I guess it's the first foot in the water really to see who has got their design package right, if their designs and their sailor makeup, and let's not forget that this America's Cup is going to be all about sailors. There's been a lot of talk about the design, but when it comes down to it, you're going to need the best sailors, and you're going to need the best design team, and really the strongest team will, as always.
I don't know, the America's Cup is obviously a very unique sporting event, and it's one of the few sporting events where if you're the defender of the America's Cup, which us at INEOS Team New Zealand are very privileged to be at the moment, you go straight into the final, and then there's a Challengers Series to see who gets to try and beat the defender. And tonight we're unveiling the Prada Cup, which is the trophy that the winner of that Challengers Series will get to win, and they'll get to move on and try and verse us in the finals. It's definitely a pretty challenging competition, incredibly hard thing to win, and it's something that Team New Zealand's won a fair few times in the past. So I think it'll it's pretty cool to see Prada and the new cup unveiled tonight. I think yes and no. It definitely means you have a different road into the America's Cup than what the defender has, but each team knows what they're up against, what challenges they're going to have, and we're obviously in the privileged position that we already get to go straight into the finals, so we don't have to worry about it. So we're just looking forward to getting to race these boats, and it's going to be an incredible thing. There's obviously 3 incredible challenges already entered, from some pretty historic America's Cup parts of the world, being from Cowes, INEOS Team UK, the American Magic, and Rossa. So it's going to be a great series. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome time for everyone to line up in the AC75s and actually get to check in and see how they're going. Obviously it's a lot of development in these boats. They're going to be pretty technically challenging, and we wanted to really create a boat that was really hard to sail and push the skills of the athletes on board. So they're definitely shaping up to be incredibly fast. I think it's going to be something that people haven't seen before. The kind of speeds we're doing around the racetrack. So it's going to be a pretty cool thing. Yeah, well I think a fair bit of water has to go under the bridge, so to say, before we get to that, but it'll be an incredible thing to finally get racing these boats, and it's something that all these teams have been working super hard to try and make that happen.
It's fantastic to be here in Monaco in the yacht club, and for sure we have started almost a year ago, but today is the official launch. We'll know the venues for the next 2 years and what's ahead until 2021. So really cool. It's been ticking for a while, but for sure now we're close to start building the first boat, so for sure things are happening very quickly. In the next months we will all be building the first AC75, the big boat, and that's really where big decisions will need to be made, and so that's really the short term. Then the midterm will be the regattas and the launching of the second boat. Well, it's interesting to see and to line up against the other challengers and the defender, and so see how the boats will compare. And I think it's important, especially to rank yourself against the others. For us as American Magic, we are a new team. We are the only new team, let's say. So for us, it was important to launch a boat and build a boat to know exactly if we're able to execute and how the relationships play in a new team, and really that was the main goal. in parallel, it's obviously, as a sailing team, it's very important to understand the new concept. This new foiling monohull is completely new. There's nothing out there like that. So it was good to test it and start validating our design tools as well. It's extremely fast. Well, predictions were fast, but confirming that in the water was pretty encouraging. And I think we're going to have a really nice boat to race against the other challengers and the Defender. The loads in the 75 are going to be massive. So from an engineering point of view, 75 is new ground. The test boat is smaller, so it was a bit easier, let's say, to engineer the boat. So now 75 is going to be, and there's nothing like that sailing today. So we're looking forward to it. Really exciting, really exciting. The speeds are going to be phenomenal, and it's all new. That's this America's Cup is all new for everyone, for all the teams, and that's why it was a big motivation for us, for a new team to enter, and because there's a real chance of having a good shot at winning the cup. Obviously, the sailing skills are still required, but with a new boat and a new rule, the opportunities are there to make design breakthroughs, and it's very evident in this design, similar to the 2013 Cup, I would say, but or even more because of the new concept. So I think the focus on having a fast boat are very present in this cup, and there's no pressure.
Because we trust in Luna Rossa, and a partnership with Prada is a proper partnership for a brand like Pirelli, and so we expect to be with them in a very challenging America's Cup. We give them a bit of support of technology, a support of brand, obviously, and the passion we have for sailing. It's a combination between a strong team with a strong belief in the capabilities and the boat, obviously. But I think that the team is the key. I think to be back with the monohull, it's something, and having boats that can go at a speed over and beyond 35 knots is something. I think the strength of the teams and the new formula could excite all the fans, and I think can have the general public be attracted by America's Cup.
Circular always a joint venture between the company Riedel, which is a technology expert, and the company West for Media, which is a content production company. And actually Riedel and West for Media started to work together about 20 years ago. So we developed together the Red Bull Air Race, we did together the Red Bull Stratos Jump, and Riedel was always preparing special techniques for special events, and we were just developing the content for that. So, and it was successful, so we decided to make a company together. I have to say we will learn from the past, or we have a solid foundation in the past, because the coverage was just great. So what we would like to do is to add a couple of things, like an enhanced data set for live analysis, a new camera set for more action shots in the race, a new communication set that you can listen in and feel what the skipper, what the helmsman is doing, and what the helmsman is saying to his crew. So I think there is a little bit what we can bring on the table, where we can develop the America's Cup further. But as I said, there is a solid foundation, and we will start from there. What intrigues me the most? First of all, I have to say I was always impressed when I was watching at the America's Cup, and I was watching at the racing, because it's great sport and it's great produced. So what I like the most is, or think about how we can this excitement across to the viewer, how we get these emotions back to the viewer, and also how we can contribute to a new, let's say, digital landscape, because we are not only talking linear television anymore, we are talking linear television and digital landscape. So we need to produce a little bit more content than we used to produce in the past.
Greetings from Bristol, Rhode Island in the American Magic boat building facility. As you can see, there's been plenty going on here between construction of Boat 1 and the launch of our Mule, our test boat, and the announcement of our innovation partner Airbus. Things are flat out with American Magic. Wish I could be with everybody tonight in Monaco to mark this great event and really the announcement of the Prada Cup and the selection series. As we all know, to win the America's Cup, you first have to win the Prada Cup and defeat all the challengers on that path. And so it's a very exciting time for the America's Cup, and it's a very exciting time for the Prada Cup. In 2019, American Magic's really looking forward to the launch of Boat 1. We're looking forward to getting into the competitors' racings in the AC75 and the excitement that lays ahead with that. I can assure you from what we've learned thus far with our mule, when you scale this thing up to real life, it's going to be an unbelievable ride.